The toy train started moving on its own at exactly 3:17 every morning. When it whispered my son's name for the first time, I realized the house was no longer empty at night. The train had belonged to my father. Key, cheap plastic thing with red paint, rubbed thin, and wheels that clicked unevenly on the track. I found it in a box after his death and gave it to my son Caleb, because he loved trains and because I wanted something of my father to stay alive in this house. The first night Caleb played with it, he laughed until his voice cracked. The second night, he woke up crying and said the train knew him. I told myself, children imagine things. Houses make noises. Grief makes everything feel haunted. Still, I unplugged every electronic toy and locked the train in the living room closet. At 3:17, the clicking began anyway. The sound crawled through the hallway like an insect with too many legs. Click, clack, click, clack, slow and patient. The closet door rattled softly as if something inside wanted attention. Then came the whisper, soft, wet, careful with each syllable. Caleb. I ran to his room. He was asleep. His chest rose and fell evenly. His name had not come from his mouth. When I opened the closet, the train sat on the floor with the track arranged in a perfect circle around it. The lid of the box was closed. My hands shook as I backed away. The whisper came again, closer. This time, it's not just Caleb. My name followed. I stopped sleeping after that. Each night at 3:17, the train completed one slow lap around its track and whispered a name. Sometimes it was my father. Sometimes it was neighbors who had moved away. Once it whispered a name I recognized from the news. A woman who disappeared 2 years ago. The next morning, her face stared back at me from the television. Confirmed dead, remains found near the river. The pattern became clear. The train did not predict death. It announced selection. Caleb began to change. He stopped playing with other toys. He sat beside the train for hours, listening. Sometimes he whispered back. When I asked him what it said, he told me the train was hungry and it needed help remembering everyone. The smell started soon after. It's old dust and cold metal mixed with something rotten. The sound of the train grew louder. The clicking followed me even outside the house. At work, I heard it under the hum of fluorescent lights. One night, I unplugged the train and smashed it with a hammer. Plastic cracked. Wheels snapped. The motor died with a thin scream. I buried the pieces in the backyard beneath frozen soil and concrete. At 3:17, the earth beneath the house vibrated. The train ran again, whole, clean, sitting at the foot of my bed. The whisper was different now, louder, closer to laughter. Caleb stood beside it. Eyes were black and glassy, reflecting nothing. He spoke without moving his lips. Haya, he said the train needed a conductor. I grabbed him and ran for the door. The hallway stretched longer with every step. The walls sweated rust. The clicking surrounded us from every direction. Names poured out of the air, overlapping, crushing me beneath their weight. Hundreds of voices, begging, screaming, thanking. The front door vanished. The train track rose from the floor, wrapping around our legs. Its metal, cold as bone, locked us in place. The train circled faster now, sparks flying from the wheels. Each rotation peeled memories from my mind. Faces, voices, love, all stripped away and fed into the whisper. Caleb smiled. He told me the train had been collecting since before houses, since before names. It learned us by listening. It kept us by remembering. Death was just storage. The conductor must stay awake, he said. Someone had to keep the names organized. The track tightened around my chest. My breath came in shallow bursts, timed to the clicking. The last thing I felt was the train slowing to a satisfied crawl. Morning light filled the room. The house was quiet. Neighbors found Caleb alone, pushing his toy train in circles. He told them his mother went on a long ride. He said she would be back when the train finished its list. At 3:17 that night, the train whispered again. This time it spoke my name perfectly. If you enjoy, then please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.